Bonjour à tous et bienvenue. Welcome to your French 101 course at Lander University. My name is McLaughlin-Rojas and I will be your instructor for this course. And the purpose of this video is just to give you a walkthrough of all the different sections of the online course and make it a little bit easier to navigate. So we'll start by going over to the left side of the screen with Start Here. And this section is really just to give you some tips for online success if you have been an online student or you haven't been one in the past, although probably most of us have been in online for a while, considering the pandemic that we're going through right now. So whether you've been an online student or not, this might be a good place to start. You'll also see the course overview that gives some information about the course description, our learning outcomes, any technology requirements, which is really just a computer with an access to the internet. All this language is in our course syllabus as well. When we click on Welcome over here, this is the landing page where you'll see this every time you log into Blackboard. And hopefully this image here, this globe, will be a good way to welcome you to French every time you come here to study. It's telling you bonjour, bonsoir, bon après-midi, bonne soirée, bonne nuit, all these different ways to show greetings, whether it's in the daytime, it's the afternoon or the evening or the night. People use these expressions in many different French-speaking countries around the world. So we'll be learning about all of those different places in the next 15 weeks or so. Okay, so we'll go on to Instructor Information. And here you'll find out a little bit about me. As one of your first assignments this week, you'll also be finding out a little bit about each other. And I'll learn about you too through a discussion forum assignment. And I'll show you where that is shortly. But if you want to know something about me, you can take a look at my bio. But just to give you a little extra information about this, I've been teaching at Lander for the last 8 years, mainly English to international students. I really enjoy meeting and talking with people from different cultures, learning different languages. It's something I've always enjoyed. And previous to teaching at Lander, I taught at USC Upstate. I taught English and French there, and I also taught English in South Korea for a year. And did some traveling in Europe before I was a graduate student, and that's where I really learned French. I actually didn't start learning French until I was an adult. I was like 22 or 23 years old, pretty close to your age. And I just really fell in love with it, and I decided to travel and spend some time living in France, also a little bit of time in Quebec in Canada, and just really, really loved it. So I believe that adults can learn languages just as well as children can if they have the motivation to do it. And hopefully we'll start you off on that journey to learning a language and falling in love with it too. Some other information here about me, you'll see my email address. If you want to send me an email at any time during the semester, this is the best way to communicate with me, other than office hours, which I'll tell you about soon. As far as the office phone, if you call there, you won't get any answer. I won't be on campus teaching this semester, but the best way to reach me is by email and office hours. And we'll move then on to course information. So here you'll see a copy of the syllabus that you can download, and we'll go ahead and do that now. And I'll just walk you through the main sections that you should pay attention to. Okay, so you'll see the specific office hours here. They are scheduled for 2:15 to 4:15 Monday and Wednesday, and 9 to 11 on Fridays via Blackboard Collaborate. In case you're not aware of what Blackboard Collaborate is, you may be familiar with it, but you may not have used it before. It's kind of like an online conferencing app, a little bit similar to Zoom or Google Meets or any of the other various ones that are out there. It just happens to be built into Blackboard, so it's easy to use, easy to access. And we'll actually use it for some presentation assignments that we'll do this semester. So you'll get the feel of Blackboard Collaborate soon enough. Our textbook, in case you haven't found that out from the bookstore yet, is Horizon, which is by J. Manley et al., and that's a Cengage text. So there's also an online student activities manual that goes along with that, and we'll look at how you get set up with that. Maybe some of you have already. You may have purchased the code from the bookstore and already gone through the process online, but you are supposed to be able to do it through Blackboard too, if you haven't done so yet. Okay, so just so you're aware, and I think everybody probably is by now, this will be a fully online course, so we won't have dedicated days and times to meet in a classroom. You will meet each other for some presentation sessions just a couple of times during the semester, and that schedule will be somewhat flexible. And I'll explain more about how that will work as we get into that in the syllabus. As far as the course description and objectives, you can go ahead and read through that on your own. That all comes from Lander's catalog. And this also gives you the objectives, what we hope to learn. Our goal is to get to a beginning level of the language and also expand our knowledge about French culture, French-speaking cultures. So we're not just looking at France. We're going to be looking at all countries around the world that speak French or have French as one of their major languages. As far as your grade in the course, we'll have 4 chapter exams, so also referred to as contrôle, and we'll use Respondus Lockdown browser to take those exams. So soon I will also point to you in Blackboard where you can start to get set up for that. I'll be asking you to take just a practice one question kind of quiz, if you will, just to make sure that you can set it up on your machine and that you can access it. It's not a real test. It doesn't count in your grade. But I need to make sure everybody can get set up on Respondus before you take your first test to avoid any technical glitches. The other part of your grade would be MindTap activities. So these are online activities, grammar and vocabulary, listening activities that you'll be doing in conjunction with what you're studying in the textbook, what I'm presenting to you in videos each week. So this is complementing what you're learning and gives you the opportunity to practice that. So that's 25% of your grade, and it's really important that you complete those activities. The good thing about them is that you have multiple attempts to get correct answers, so the system kind of encourages you to learn, I think. Another component of your grade would be what I would call in English cultural discovery projects, or mini projets de découverte culturelle. And the purpose of those projects, we'll be doing them in English, is just to expand your thinking about the Francophone world, the French-speaking world. So I'll be asking you to explore different aspects of culture. You'll be doing a mini project on an individual Francophone French-speaking country. You'll be looking at music, you'll be looking at sports, you'll be looking at food. So you'll see the specifics of this, but the idea is that you're learning the language, but at the same time you're learning about the culture because they go hand in hand, right? Okay, another component of your grade would be oral presentations or présentation orale. And this is just to give you some limited chances to do some speaking. In my experience, the aspect of language learning that most freaks people out or intimidates them is speaking to somebody in another language, and it can be scary. But we've got to explore all the language skills when we're studying a language. Reading, writing, speaking, listening. They're all important. The great thing about the oral presentations is that there's just 2 of them. You're just a beginner in the language, so they'll be relatively short, and you're going to do this with a partner in the class. You'll actually meet online to do this in Blackboard Collaborate, so it really won't be so scary, and you'll actually be able to prepare your presentation ahead of time and have a slide to look at. So I just really want to give you the chance to open up your mouth and let it come out. Everybody needs to have a chance to speak. Okay, the other component of your grade is compositions. So you'll also do 2 short compositions, like a paragraph or 2. And this just gives you the chance to explore another important skill in language, which is writing. Both of those are worth 5% of your grade. I make those a little bit smaller than the other components because they take time to develop. In a beginning language course, you won't be a speaking expert or a writing expert yet. You're just getting your feet wet with those skills. So I think it makes sense to make them a smaller portion of your grade. And as you move along further in your language development, you get better and better at those things. And then finally, we'll have a final exam of 15%, and that's going to be cumulative. So it'll test you on all the skills that you've learned throughout the entire semester. Okay, lucky for you, there are 2 extra credit opportunities. One of them, you're probably all familiar with Duolingo. I've already gone ahead and set up a class for us in Duolingo, and I've chosen some topics, beginner topics that you can practice with there. So if you complete all of the lessons in at least 5 of the assigned beginner topics, you'll get a 5% extra credit boost on your final grade. So if you had an 85, that would give you a 90, which is a really big increase because I think it's so important to maintain constant practice with a language that if you do that with kind of a fun app like Duolingo, it's easy to access on your phone. This is a great way to supplement and build on the skills you're learning in this class. And some of the topics I selected are actually even a little more advanced than what we're doing in this class, so it'll push you a little further, which is why I think the 5% extra credit is fair. The other option you could choose is to watch a Netflix series in French. Of course, you can watch it with English subtitles. The goal here is just to train your ears and start to listen to the language. And if you watch the first season of this show and write a review of it, you can also earn extra credit, the same 5% in that way. So you could choose whichever option works for you. Okay, so other things that I will highlight here. The grading scales is standard, just like for any other course. Each week I will be sending, or I'll be posting a video in the corresponding chapter folder, chapitre folder, with grammar and vocabulary explanations. I'll post maybe 2 to 3 videos per week that'll help to prepare you for your exams, your cultural discovery projects, your presentations, your compositions. And I'll always send out kind of a weekly announcement every Sunday evening that will give you some reminders about what's coming up. So if you kind of need someone in the background like you would in a face-to-face class keeping you up to date with things, I'll be there to help give you that encouragement. Okay, exams, as I said, we'll have 4 of those. They'll be through a Respondus lockdown browser. There's a little note there about taking exams through Respondus. You may have done it for another class already before, but that gives you some more information about that. You'll see here also some more information about MindTap homework. All of your homework assignments will be due on Sundays at 11:59, and I'll show you very quickly in MindTap how you can look at how the exercises are organized, and it'll kind of keep you on track to do everything week by week. There's some more description here about the 3 other types of assignments that I mentioned earlier, so you can go ahead and read through those. And underneath here you see all of the course policies that are pretty standard for any Lander class. The only one I'll point out as attendance is that I expect you to log on to the site at least 2 times per week. That's like your attendance in the class. If I notice that you're not keeping up with that, then I'll get in touch with you and we'll see what's going on and what we can do to make it better. All right, so going all the way down, you'll see our course calendar at the bottom. And this just tells you week by week what we're going to be doing in French 101. So I've listed it in French using some French language to get you acclimated. So semaine is week, chapitre is chapter. You could probably figure that out pretty easily. Lots of similar vocabulary between English and French. We actually share a lot of history in our languages. On apprend means we will learn, and then devoir, activité, would be your homework or activities for the week. So for each of the weeks, you'll see what chapter we'll be in, you'll see the topics we'll be studying, and I will help you understand what those are as we go week by week. So you'll see for each week the different activities that you have due. So this week it's just MindTap activities. I'll show you how to get to those soon. Next week, you'll have your first cultural discovery project. You'll continue on with MindTap. The third week, you'll be doing your first presentation. And as you'll find out with the presentations, like the online conversations you're going to be doing, I'll give you, or I'll match you up with a classmate by the end of this week. I'll wait till the end of this week because I want to make sure our roster is stable and there aren't more students dropping or joining the class. That way I know the partner you get will be the partner that you're really going to be working with. So by the end of this week, you'll find out who that person is going to be. As we go on through, you'll see exams are marked in blue or highlighted in blue, so they really stand out and you know when they're coming up. So we'll have an exam at the end of or beginning of week 4, again at the beginning of week 7, another at the beginning of week 10, and then the last one at the beginning of week 14. And then after week 14, going into week 15, we're focusing our attention on the final exam. The way the exams work, as you'll see scrolling back to the first one, the test will be available online from September 7th through September 9th. So there will be 2, or I guess 3 full days that you can take the test. So you could access it anywhere from September 7th at midnight all the way until 11:59 Wednesday. And since we're in an online class, this allows the flexibility for you to be able to access the test at your convenience. But you won't be able to take it before or after that window of time. And you'll get an hour and 30 minutes to take that exam. So that way, the other good thing about it is if you run into any technical problems, if you started it on Monday, we can try to solve that before Wednesday and we get everybody finished all at once. Okay, so you can go ahead and look through the rest of those due dates and you'll see when everything is due. So everything is kind of spread out nicely so that you can work on different activities throughout the semester. Okay, so out of the syllabus, we are going to head back over to My Classroom. And here you're going to see links to class activities and to the discussion board. The discussion board will also be accessible through the class activities modules that we'll look at in a moment, but I'll go ahead and just point you over here. One of your assignments this week will be to do an introduction with all of your classmates to just get to know each other and tell us a little bit about your experience with language learning, being an online student. I'm also going to be posting here a couple of other forums for you to be able to ask questions about the course. I'll get those posted tonight or early tomorrow. You'll also see some discussion forums for your cultural discovery projects, because you'll be researching a certain aspect of French culture and then you're going to be sharing that information with other classmates through a discussion. Okay, so going back over to class activities. Okay, you'll get started this week with these first 2 folders, or first 3, I guess we could say. On commence means let's get started, and you should start here. So this course orientation video that you're seeing right now, I'm going to post that video right here in this link once I'm finished recording it. And so you can always come back here to reorient yourself with any aspect of the course. The next thing you'll do is the introductions. So just like you saw in the discussions link, you can also access it from here. I'll just ask you to introduce yourself, where you're from, why you chose Lander, tell us your major, why you decided to enroll in French, any experience you might have with the language or about learning online. And I'll ask you to post that by this Friday, so that way you have a couple of days to get other assignments done, like your first MindTap activities. So you'll just click on Introductions. If you're the first to post here, you'll create a thread and then others can respond to you from there. Okay, so heading back over to this first folder, the other thing I would like you to do as soon as you can is to learn about Respondus Lockdown Browser. If you already have it on your computer, you don't really need to do anything other than take the little practice test. But if you're doing this for the first time, you can go to this link where you can learn more about the browser, how it works and what it's for. You can download it onto your computer. And then the next thing you would do is go to the contrôle or examen folder, and I'll have you take that little practice test. So when we go back to class activities, you can go to the folder where all your exams will be. And you just click on here, and it's like a one question little short answer test. And all I do is just ask you to describe your language learning experience a little bit. Like I said, it doesn't count in your grade. It's just to make sure that you can use and access the browser. Okay, so back over here. So those three activities, or let's say it's a total of 2, right? So just the introductions and the browser. Those are the 2 that you'll need to complete as soon as you can by Friday, and the Respondus Lockdown browser before September 4th at the latest, because you'll be having your exam a few days after that. Okay, then the next place would be MindTap. So you'll go into this folder for anything related to MindTap. I already have it linked to my Blackboard account, so when I click on it, it's going to look like this. And it takes a second to load. So if you've already got access to it, it's probably just going to ask you for a code maybe, or it may prompt you to go ahead and purchase the access to it. Once you have it set up, this is what it looks like. And there's another link in this folder where I've given you instructions to get it set up, both on your computer and on your phone. You can do these activities on your phone too. So the way I have it displayed right now is the week by week setup. You can toggle between this view, the week by week, or you can look at kind of the nested view of all the activities according to the chapters. So if I click on Chapitre préliminaire, on commence, we'll see all the different activities, and you have to basically click through all of these to get to them. Personally, I think the easier way is to go week by week, because that way you can see when it's due. So your assignment is due by August 23rd for week 1. You have 11 activities that are due. And if you open it up, it takes you directly to what you need to work on. And the other thing is, let me close this. As we go through the weeks, I'm going to be taking out some of these activities. Ideally, I would like to have the activities in like maybe the 15 to 20 activities per week range. That should give you a pace of doing about 3, 4, 5 activities per day to stay on task with it, and to make sure that you're getting exposure to the language every day. And hopefully you'll take advantage of Duolingo as well to keep up with your practice. So for week 1, this is set. You have 11 activities, but for the other weeks that are coming, I'll probably remove some of them because you're going to be working on other assignments as well. But I'll give you that update as we get past this first week. And if you go back to this folder, there's a link here about setting up MindTap access. So it gives you instructions if you don't already have it set up. And there's also a technical support link here if you're having a lot of trouble getting access. One of the representatives of Cengage is also supposed to be making us a video that walks you through the setup process, and she'll probably have that to us in the next couple of days, and I will post that here too as soon as I receive it. Okay, so just a couple of other things to mention. These chapter folders are where I will post any videos of vocabulary, grammar explanations. So for this week, you can go ahead and take a look at Chapitre préliminaire. There's nothing posted here yet, but by tomorrow night, I'll post the first video of the chapter content that you should be learning to go along with your MindTap activities. And I'll let you know what chapter pages it goes along with as well. All right, just a few more items. Okay, so the cultural discovery mini projects, for now, I just encourage you to go in there and take a look at the descriptions for each of those, kind of get a feel for what you need to do. Your first one is due by not this Friday, but Friday the 28th. So that gives you lots of time to prepare. So you can go ahead and start to look through the guidelines. And as we get closer to that time, I'll, talk in a little bit more detail about those assignments. And you can see the grading rubric for those assignments here. And then you'll also see here a folder for oral presentations. So it would be a really good idea to start getting familiar with Blackboard Collaborate and how you can record a group presentation there. This is a great video to watch. The oral presentation guidelines are explained here, the scoring rubric, and you can go ahead and connect directly to Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. This is where I'm going to be having my office hours, virtual office hours. I'm going to start doing that from Wednesday forward. So you'll see in the scheduled sessions area here, there will be a link to office hours. So you can go ahead and join that at the time that's listed in the syllabus. And I'll include a link for that kind of on the main class activities landing page once that is set up. All right, we're almost there. And finally, you can go into the compositions folder also to find out the composition guidelines, scoring rubric, and both of the links to submit those assignments. And then finally, for any students who are interested, you'll find the information for extra credit. So the Duolingo connection information is here, and it gives you the code and how to connect on your phone or on a laptop. Information about Call My Agent if you're interested in watching that for extra credit. And then this document right here is just how to put together the review of that if you decide to do that. And then you would submit that review right here for extra credit. And all extra credit is due at the end of the semester. So by December 7th, you have the whole semester to work on it. And the very last thing that you'll see there in class activities is just a folder that I've created for supplementary resources. I put there for now typing French accents, the codes that you would use to do that in case you need that for your compositions. But I'll add other materials there as we go through the semester. So I think this is quite a lot of information for you to take in for one time. I'll try to make future videos a little bit shorter, but we covered it all in this first video. So if there are any questions that you have, anything you can't find, if you're having trouble getting set up with MindTap, it's driving you a little crazy and getting things figured out, just let me know. We will get you on board as soon as possible. So I hope you all have a good night, bonne nuit, and we'll see each other very soon.